Hey, how's it going? It's great. Today we're not in the garage, we're on our way to Blackpool. Let's take a look. Okay, so I'm heading up to get Matropolis, Matt with 1T, and yeah, he lives about half an hour or so away from me, so we're going to go and get him. Then we're going to head up to Blackpool, so it's a good few hours to drive. It's not a nice drive. It's a motorway all the way type of thing, and normally it's got loads of like average speed zones and traffic and everything else on there, so it's going to be a good part of the day getting up there. It's 8:37 now, so yeah, we're going to be heading up there to see if we can get there in time, maybe get to a game shop or two. I think last year I went to Eclipse, which was pretty cool, so I wouldn't mind popping there again. And yeah, tonight in the Norbreck Hotel, the infamous Norbreck Hotel, we're going to the YouTubers meetup, which is pretty cool. It was a good event last year, quite a few of us there, and I think there's even more this year, so lots of people I've met before, some people I've not met before, and yeah, it should be a good night, followed by Play Expo tomorrow, and it's open Sunday as well, but I think we'll be heading back Sunday, and yeah, it should be a really good event. The event itself is really cool. It's got a good section of retro consoles, computers, everything you can think of, some merchandise sellers, loads of arcade games, and the reason I'm going up is to see what the pinball selection is like. So we're going to play some pinball, get a little bit more information for the pinball build, and we'll go from there. Catch you in a bit. Okay, so I'm back from Blackpool, and an absolutely amazing weekend. Picked up Matt on the Friday morning, went up to he's about 40 minutes away from me. We picked him up, headed up to Blackpool, which is about a 4-hour drive from him, so about 5 hours all in total with a stop. But it's worth it. It's a really good trip and it's a really good weekend out. We stopped off at Eclipse Games, didn't buy anything this year, but I did buy some things there last year. And then we went and checked into the hotel, down to the Norbreck, the mighty Norbreck Hotel. I've only been there twice now, second year. It doesn't get any better, but it's a good venue for the event. So yeah, you've got to go there, haven't you, for these kinds of things. From the Norbreck, a couple of us went across to Arcade Club, the new Arcade Club in Blackpool, and it's really good. I would say it's in the middle between the Leeds one and the Bury one. I think it's in that middle ground where it's got a load of jammer cabs, a couple of dance games and Japanese type rhythm games and things. So downstairs they had a couple of pinball machines, and no surprise, I spent a lot of my time down there. Spent a lot of time playing on Guns N' Roses. I think that was the one game in the style that I liked. I liked the colours and I liked the style of the play field. It was actually quite a good game to get playing on. And again, when it's on free play, you can have a couple of goes on it. Obviously, if there's somebody waiting, you swap onto another game. But I had quite a few goes on that. There's a couple of other games down there as well. A Mario Pinball, which was pretty awful to be honest, but a couple of other games I'll show some footage of in a minute. But it was really good. It was really good just to get down there, play some pinball machines on the Friday night, which I wasn't expected. I thought we were just going to go for a couple of beers, but the main bar in the Norbreck was shut, so we ended up heading out and going to Arcade Club, which was good. Okay, so Saturday morning, headed back down to the Norbreck, went straight in, got our wristbands, had a quick look around the traders room. Good selection of traders, wasn't a huge amount there for me. I got a couple of pickups I'll show you in a bit. Nothing special, a couple of games I had growing up, and a couple of things I just fancy for the collection. I'll show you those in a bit. I did get one game for a new console that I picked up as well, so we'll talk about that at the end. But the event itself is just amazing. Play Expo is just such a huge event. As you walk in, you're greeted by a massive selection of arcade games, everything from the full deluxe versions of Outrun, Super Hang-On, Space Harrier, all the way through to light gun games and classic arcade games and everything else. There's a huge selection at the back of the hall of microcomputers and consoles and everything else set up on CRTs, which looks really cool. Then in the next little corridor is where I spent a lot of my time, is where they had the pinball selection, and they had a really cool selection of pinball machines there. I think there's about 10 games in total, everything ranging from the newer games such as Batman 66, the Munsters, which I've never seen before, Turtles, and Star Wars. Star Wars I spent a lot of time on as well. So those four were the main four that I played on. The rest of them were really great games, and everything was well maintained and everything set up. I think it's a member of the forum on Pinball Info as well that runs this. Such a credit to the event to bring those pinball machines along. So many people that I spoke to on the day have not even played pinball before, or played much pinball before, and then they were playing on these games at the event and absolutely loved them. It's not the kind of thing that most people have in their house. I got one, some people got quite a few, but the value on these things are obviously quite high, so it's not something that you're going to have easy access to at home for an event like that. So most people are into the gaming, they come and play some pinball and get hooked, and yeah, it's a really good intro to the hobby as well. But I went to have a look at mainly those four machines, and I learned a lot about them. I'm going to take a little bit of time to analyse what I did like and didn't like of some of them. Star Wars, for example, absolutely stunning game, but I didn't like that it just had the two flippers. Turtles I really liked, and I know Turtles gets a bit of a hammering on times, but Turtles I really liked. Munsters, wasn't too keen on it. That lower playfield style, the ball was just getting knocked on it and things. I didn't think it was as flush as it could be. Batman 66 is just a great game, and that's going to be a future classic, I think. That was a good fun game to play. The volume on the games was probably lower than I'd like. I'm a little bit deaf anyway, so I'd like them a little bit louder, but that would have helped me just learn the games a little bit more. Played them quite a few times, and I managed to stay into the event at the lock-in after the event for the after-show party. I've got a lot more time on the games then. They switched them back on, and we got onto the games and had a good few goes of those games over the course of the evening, which was really cool because there was a lot less people in there. You weren't waiting to go on games, and then you could stay on them for maybe 2 or 3 goes in a row without feeling guilty that somebody's hovering behind you for their go on the game. So that was good. That was a really good event. Saturday evening was pretty much to stay there until probably 11:30, 12 o'clock. Headed back to the hotel. Got up Sunday morning and headed back, and yeah, nice drive back. Me and Matt dropped Matt off home, ready for another year. So yeah, next year we're going to go again. Hopefully we'll get a couple more people. Steve, Retro Red Steve, you need to come next year. I know you're off to Orlando this year, so we couldn't entice him to come along, but yeah, next year we'll get him along. Get the full Welsh crew from our side of things to come up to Play Expo next year, because it's a really good event and it'd be good to see everyone there. Okay, so pickups, let's go through these really quickly. Nobody wants to see my pickups, there's nothing exciting in here. NBA Jam Tournament Edition, no manual but in decent condition. I've got NBA Jam up on the shelf and not the Tournament Edition. I'm glad to have that one as well. Skitching, absolutely amazing game. I loved this game growing up. Cross between, to me, Tony Hawk and probably Road Rash, complete with manual. Not bad condition. I paid 12 quid for that one. I think I bundled a couple of these in to get them on a bit of a cheaper price. Chuck Rock on the Master System, I've got it on the Mega Drive. Chuck Rock I always remember playing on the Amiga, but it's actually good ports on the consoles as well, so please have that. No manual, but doesn't bother me on the Master System. I'll play that anyway. Another one without manual, classic game. I can't believe I've never bought this before, but I never seem to come across it in CEX or anywhere else. Whenever I have seen it in game shops, it's been a lot more money than 15 quid, so picked that up this time around. Again, no instructions, but in good condition, so pleased to have Outrun. I haven't got the other ones either for the Master System, so I need to get them at some time. Killer Instinct on the Game Boy, really great game. I had Killer Instinct on the Super Nintendo, and playing on the Game Boy after that is a little bit sketchy. Game Boy didn't do the best fighting games, but yeah, it's not a bad port, I suppose, for a handheld console at the time. A couple of games, these have both got manuals in them. So F1 2013, I'm not going to open them up, but they've both got the manuals. That cost me £5. Don't know whether that's a good price or not. Might have been able to get it in CX around the same. And a game that I've never seen before, Split Second Velocity. Again, completely manual. I'll open that one up and show you. Again, just to go on the shelf, play on the racing setup when I've got that. The main thing I picked up in Play Expo was this, and it's a PC Engine Duo R. Got this from Eddie Rollercore. I bought it as a bit of a working project, so the Hue card side works, and I've got a multi-cart in there at the moment. The CD-ROM doesn't, and I bought a game along with my others. I paid it, I think I bundled it in, so I got it for about a tenner in the end, but it's got the spine card and everything on it. It's Ease 4. It's not the type of game I'd want to play long term, but after all the games I went through, it was one of the only ones I think where I fancy picking up. It was in nice condition with the spine card and everything else, so grabbed that just to test it out, and yeah, tested it and it doesn't work. I'll adjust the pots on there. I might recap it. I'll probably do an RGB mod and everything else on this at some point. I might even retro bright it as well, just to give it a bit of a nice colour. But I'm really pleased to have this. The one game that I wanted to play, and it's on my multi-cart, is Mr. Heli. I will be buying a Hue card for that version. Eddie also gave me a couple of games. I have no idea what they are. If you know, comment down below. Sun 2? I have no idea. And then some kind of crazy football game. I also picked up I haven't got them around yet. I picked up this one. Eddie gave me a standard control pad to go with it. I've not got it around here in the box. But I picked up this additional joypad that I didn't realise these only have a single port on them. So Marcus from Dad and Lads is going to send me a multi-tap and a joystick to repair for him. This is meant to be faulty, so I bought this for £10. I think the standard control pads sell for 25, so these ones go for a little bit more. I've got to obviously take it apart, see if it's the PCB or whatever else it is. Hopefully get that working, and I'll have two pads working on the system then. So that's all my pickups. As I said, not a load of money spent and not a load of pickups, and the biggest thing was something that I picked up weeks ago, but asked Eddie to hold on to it and bring it to the event with me rather than post it to me and potentially get lost in the post. So really good event. My pickups weren't huge, weren't out of this world, although this Duo R is probably the pickup of the year for me. I'm really pleased to have that, and the fact that it needs a bit of work is probably even better for me. I really want to get my hands stuck into that. I want to open it up and have a look around it, probably recap it and do everything else to it, RGB mods and things. So yeah, keep an eye out for content on that in the future. But yeah, it's really good. Nice to catch up with everyone. No doubt we'll be back in the Norbreck next year. Looking forward to Play Expo. Great to see everyone. Thank you for watching. Please comment, like, subscribe, all of those kind of things, and I'll catch you on the next one.